I'm the creation of Allah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This video is for the sisters who basically were chasing and screaming when Adam, Saleh and Abu Bakr came to Marble Arch. Sisters, I got one very simple question for you. And that question is, when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam was in town and all the female companions knew he was in town and so forth, did they run after him, and did they scream after him, and did they start shouting and chasing him down? I think you all know the answer is no. None of the female companions, or a big group of the female companions, when they saw or heard Prophet Muhammad in town and so forth, they didn't start running and chasing him and trying to touch him and hug him and hold him, and even, some even kiss him and so forth. I think you all know this. Even the most basic of hijabi that was out there knows that. And we know that Prophet Muhammad, the difference between him and Adam, Saleh and me and anyone else, is the heavens and the earth. So if we know that Prophet Muhammad was the best of creation, he was the best worshipper, he had the best of statures and so forth, and he was the best all round, inshallah. And we know the female companions, didn't used to run, scream, shout, cry and everything, when they saw him. Then why are we doing it for the brother Adam Saleh? I think every sister who went to Marble Arch and chased after him and was screaming after him, who's watching this video, I think deep down the reason why the female companions, may Allah be pleased with them, didn't chase the Prophet Muhammad down, and they didn't scream and they didn't cry over him, is that even though they loved him, they loved him with a strong loving, the love was a love based on ilm, based on knowledge, based on Quran and Sunnah, so it was a respectful love. And even the female companions that wanted to marry the Prophet Muhammad, were attracted to him in that kind of way, they kept their composure, they didn't act like wild Michael Jackson fans, screaming and crying, ripping their hair out and stuff like this and this and that. Why? So the whole thing is that at the end of the day is that you sisters, you're wearing the uniform, from Allah. The hijab is a uniform. It's an act of worship, just like prayer is an act of worship, just like Hajj is an act of worship, just like Zakat is an act of worship. Wearing hijab is an act of worship. It's not a fashion tool, it's not a glamour item, it's not there's no such thing as a sexy hijab or hot hijab or glitter hijab. So the hijab is a uniform of Allah, and it was a gift, a uniform that was given to the female companions. So when you wear that hijab, you're representing Aisha, Fatima, the female companions, and the rest of the generations that came after it. So I know a lot of sisters, they didn't get why people were saying to them, "What you were acting cheap, you were acting desperate, you were acting like hungry women, you were acting basically like cheap women, who go raving and stuff like this." The reason why people were so upset and why people came at you is very simple. That they came at you because you was wearing the uniform of Allah. You was wearing the uniform of Allah that was worn by the female companions and which represents them. And we had, people like Aisha, and women like Fatima used to wear the same uniform as you, and you were screaming after him. Some of you were crying after him. You were chasing him down, like he's the only man on earth. And no matter how much Aisha and Fatima and these other females and this, that and the other, they loved a man, whether he was righteous or not, there was a certain way they went about going. So I just ask you that if you don't understand why brothers or sisters were disappointed, were upset, were maybe calling you cheap or calling you desperate or hungry, why? It's because we know that when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in town, and the female companions who loved him more than us, who respected him more than us, who appreciated and admired him more than us, they didn't start losing their heads, yeah, and start screaming and shouting and running through the street, oh, there's Muhammad, there's Muhammad. They never did this. And if anyone had the right to do that, he did. So I just ask you, please act how the female companions did around the Prophet with any person that inspires you or about Islam, or you admire about Islam, and this, that and the other. And no, at the end of the day, whatever you see of us speakers, du'at, or people, you know, on camera, you're only seeing the good side. You're not seeing the bad side and all the mistakes and all the many faults we have, yeah? So at the end of the day, please take it seriously. And I ask the sisters to please get the books of Sheikh Al-Albani, get the books of Sheikh Uthaymeen, get the books of Sheikh Bin Baz, get the books of Sheikh MOSQUE, yeah, inshallah, and read from the Quran and Sunnah basically how a woman should read. There was a scholar named Sheikh MOSQUE from Damaj, Yemen, who basically had a daughter. Like, she's either a sheikh or a student of knowledge, yeah. And she wrote a book, Advice to My Sisters, and I advise every sister to get that book, Advice, what is it? To My Sisters, by Abdullah or something, I think her name is, inshallah. But it's a priceless book, and I advise you all to get it. And it shows you based upon Quran and Sunnah. There's very little of her own speech in it. It's all ayats and hadiths, and I advise you to, inshallah, get that book, inshallah, and read it, inshallah, and it will show you truly how a true Muslim woman should be, inshallah. May Allah give you all Jannah, inshallah, and may Allah help us all to come back to following, to having a belief, the Tawheed and the Aqidah, and you know, and worship, and in our celebrations, the same way as the Prophet did, his companions did, and the rest of the Salaf did. Jazakallah khairan. Please share the video so that other people can see it. If you have Twitter, share it on it. If you have Facebook, share it on it. Wherever you can share it, please, because the only way people can see it is if you share it. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
15-year-old was suffering from gunshot wounds.
Since I've come to Tawheed, and I've read about the companions and the Salaf and everyone else, I know who I am. I'm the creation of Allah.